Nonprofit and philanthropic leaders devote their lives to the service of others, but sometimes they need a little help. Kristine Michie has been deep in the work and the play of helping changemakers grow their impact for decades. So whether you're ladling soup at a local shelter or attending a UN peace conference, you need to find the balance between the heavy work and a light touch so you don't burn out. And Kristine believes play is at the center of that. Welcome to the PlayFull podcast, bringing fun to the serious work of changing the world.
Everybody, welcome to the PlayFull podcast. We are PlayFull live here at the international headquarters of Taharka Brothers. And those of you, my faithful followers, know that Taharka Brothers has been the sponsor of the PlayFull podcast for about a year now and has sent ice cream all over the country on behalf of and for the PlayFull podcast and the change makers that we get to know. So excited to be here today with two of the co-owners of Taharka Brothers, Vinny and Mike. And I'm going to have them tell you a little bit about themselves and the work they do and how we are both having ice cream and impact starting right here at Taharka Brothers. So Vinny, why don't you go first? Tell us about your role here. And as I recall, I think you've been working at Taharka since you were about 15?
Oh yeah, well first and foremost, I
Yes.
want to appreciate you and thank you for visiting us in Baltimore, so appreciate it. Well, I'm Vinny. I go by Cousin Vinny to some, Vinny to others. I'm the event director and the sales director of Taharka Brothers Ice Cream. I do all the fun kissing the babies and doing all the community relationships. That is correct. I have been here since 15 years. I know I look mighty young. I'm only 28 years old. I started working with Taharka Brothers when I was a freshman in high school. Just started off as just a summer job. From a summer job as a freshman, just trying to get a couple dollars in the pocket just so you can get some cool Jordans and some money to spend at the mall. Turned to be a career. And now I'm providing for my families and supporting my community all through Taharka Brothers.
I love it. And I'm going to get to you, Mike, in a second, but I want to do one quick follow-up question. Did you know when you got here that there was a mission and there was an impact and kind of a social impact component to it? Or were you just like looking for, like you said, like ice cream, that sounds fun, and some money for going to the mall?
It's a little bit of it all. So I always knew what my skills was. I used to have high hopes and aspirations, like telling my mom, like, yeah, I'm going to be a business owner. I used to have a club called Chills when I was like 10 years old. Like, yeah, I'm going to be a business owner, all these things. But I never had a job or knew what a business looked like. But I was in a Saturday school program that my mom was like, you're going to go to Saturday school. And I'm like, can I do anything else? She was like, well, you're going to go to Saturday school, you're going to get a job. But I knew the average job, like a McDonald's or average corporation, wasn't best for my skills because I wanted to get hands-on. When I was in that Saturday school, I met Mike. He was doing my orientation for that Saturday school called Praise Program. It was a college readiness. And they were filled with tattoos, 6'3", freshman year. I'm like, 6'5", yeah, giants. I got in there, I'm like, man, they're cool. I got to get involved with them. And then they spoke well. They ran their business. And then it was ice cream. It's like it's the sweet stuff. I called so much they probably remembered my number on the dial call. And they was like, let's just give this kid an opportunity. I did a farmer's market. And I fell in love with it. And I've been a natural salesman. I fell in love with the brand. 15 years later, I'm now the guy that runs the ice cream truck and all the events, and we're still growing, and I got some young guys behind me that's hopefully they can do the same thing.
So good.
Excited.
And you're an owner.
Yeah.
All right, here's another owner. Mike, tell us a little bit about how you came to be at Taharka.
So I'm currently the director of retail operations for Taharka Brothers. I've been here for a little bit longer than Vinny, off and on. I've been here since my 18th birthday, so that was, we can do the math, it was, 07?
He's old.
Got to graduate high school working here. This place was basically, you could kind of say it was like life-saving. At the time, I was going through some struggles as far as like my living situation, even school. So this allowed me to just, make some money, pay some bills, have a place to stay while I finished out that part of my education.
So you all know with the podcast, we're talking to change makers around the world, and I have a special passion for founders of businesses and social enterprises where there's this like intersection between impact and business, right? Double bottom line, sometimes people call it. So tell me what it's like to run a company that is doing both things, that's putting a great product out into the world and making a difference.
It's difficult, especially when you really care about your mission. Sometimes you think, I'm speaking for all of us, but sometimes you think you're falling short because you are so focused on the business. But at the same time, you can find joy when it gets to integrate, and you can kind of do both things at once. But it's definitely a challenge, I would say.
And if you add to that question, sometime let's talk about in the last week or so, and maybe it just happened earlier today, when you felt the mission. You're doing your work and you're feeling that you're like in the mission, not just in the business.
Well, especially for my department, because my department consists of being outside. Part of also being at the desk to book all these events. But to go in these communities, being born and raised in West Baltimore, and then to be able to collab or work with or support people that's in these inner cities, like these nonprofits, for example, like No Boundaries. They run a nonprofit on Utah Place. They work with maybe about 1,500 kids that live in that neighborhood. And I have a close relationship with that person who runs that organization. They can give me a call and say, hey, Vinny, I'm having my block party. Can you come out and can you work with my budget? And I can say, keep your budget. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to give ice cream for everyone that attends, adults, children, elderly. It does not matter. It's just be able to have a product that is supported by Baltimore, and then I can support my own city by having a product that can be an uplift and be to help anchor other nonprofits or people that's doing amazing things in my city. So it's a day-by-day thing, and I love it. I have a passion for it, and having those conversations and building those relationships, having those face-to-face conversations with someone that looks like me and comes from that same neighborhood, but might not see or know about the opportunity that they can go ahead and succeed. And I might can be able to give them some advice. I might can point them in the right direction. I might can say, oh, you don't know this person? I need to give you this person and call this person so you can get the right information you need. So it's great to be able to feel like you are making a change in your community, and you can hands-on be with the change. So it's not like I'm just talking about it. I can actually put the work in it. So it's a blessing.
I think I skipped over something. If you could, between the two of you, share with the audience, with us all, the story of Taharka. Why is it called Taharka, and how does that pull through that story to today?
Okay, so let's play off each other on this one. The story is a long one. I think we're at almost 30 years of this company being in existence altogether, but it's had many different forms. It originally started as like a lawn care company. It was a nonprofit. It worked with people who had problems with drugs. It worked with people who were coming out of the system. Then it transitioned to younger people coming out of the system, until eventually totally rebranding and becoming a for-profit company in a C Corp. I'll let you kind of keep going on that one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put it in a more simpler way without using all the big words. It literally was like very, very humble beginnings. So Sean Smeaton, the founder of the company, he came to Baltimore as a CPA, accounting firm. He had some extracurricular programs. He had to go to Lexington Terrace projects. That's where like the Wire was based off of. Very low opportunities, not good turnaround for people that grew up in that area. He got introduced to a basketball team in the Lexington Terrace project. It was a few guys that was on that team. One of the guys' name was Taharka McCoy. He was one of the guys that was with the Sylvan Beach in the early days before he even had his real mission. Unfortunately, Taharka got murdered in 2001. His mentee was his murderer. And a dice game gone wrong. So while he was trying to make a very positive change in his community, unfortunately, he lost his life to gun violence. We don't want to glorify the violence in the city, but we want to glorify the people that do make change in the community. So Taharka McCoy is one of those guys that was a change maker in his community. We're all Taharkas. We don't look as Taharka Brothers or Taharka Sister. Anyone that's want to make a positive impact could be a Taharka. So long story short, fast forward to now, we are now a co-op. We offer all our employees the opportunity to become an owner of the company. We have different committees that people can get involved with. we're just slinging good ice cream, and we're trying to make a change every scoop by scoop. And it, like Mike said, it's definitely a balance of trying to make sure that you balance your work overload and then to trying to balance the mission side. But sometimes when you run a good business practices, it makes the mission more doable to achieve. If you're just practicing those good values and leading example for other entrepreneurs or the people that come in through these doors to know that they have a path that they can follow. I'm still grinding. A lot of people call us a success story, but I think we're all a success story that's still in development. Even if you're just getting started, you might don't even have the idea completely rolling. But if you can have that idea that could be a simple problem solver to another person's life, you're a change maker. And Taharka Brothers is just one of the many other people that are doing great things that are trying to make a change in the city. So I think that's summarized what he said.
That covers. Yeah, that was very good.
Now I think we've waited long enough to have ice cream, so I think we're gonna come up with some ice cream now. So we'll be right back with that. So we're back with the ice cream, and my my friends Vinny and Mike. I mean, I eat a lot of ice cream, but like I can kind of have some days without it, and you guys probably like just so. I'm gonna eat some ice cream, and this is my new favorite. I've been eating Taharka Brothers for a year now, and these are like okay. Let me just ask an ice cream question. Tell me about making these homemade peppermint patties. How does that go down?
It started off as like a
God, so good.
like just some of my favorite thing, like those York patties, the peppermint York patties. Everything gets handmade in our factory, so all the add-ins. We were trying to see how could we imitate a York patty as best as possible instead of going in a grocery store and having all the people raising their eyebrows of because why are we walking into a grocery store in the middle of the day taking the whole inventory of York patties? So yeah, we just imitated it and created our own.
Reverse engineered it, like they say.
And we called it Netflix and Chills based off the Netflix and Chills thing. And then you can literally sit and binge watch your entire favorite series of House of Dragons while you eat that ice cream. So it's very good. So that specifically is the mint ice cream with the cookie crumb swirls and homemade peppermint patties. Very delicious.
Oh my God. I guess I could have a little of everything, but I think I'm just okay. So tell me, please, you guys, about. I ask all my guests this when we're eating ice cream. I say, so what's the scoop? Get it? On how you came to care. Can you share with me a memory of yours about when you started to realize, like, I have a role in the world to make the world a better place? Because I think we're all hanging out with each other and we're like, well, of course, but not everybody has that. Like some people are not fine, they're just doing their thing. So what do you remember about having kind of an outward perspective that you could have a role in making the world a better place and changing your community?
So like I said, I've been here since my 18th birthday, so I kind of grew up underneath the people that helped kind of found the company. So I was involved in a lot of the conversations about, you know, what would this company be about? What would it stand for? And because it was in transition from being a nonprofit where they were dealing with, you know, people who looked like me, might have came from the same neighborhood that I came from, but weren't seeing like any real change or was seeing people kind of go right back to the same things that they were doing before. We were very intentional about the strategy behind what this company will represent. So the thing that struck me, we were sitting in our old office when we were downtown, and his name is Darius. He was the graphic designer, the one that designed the name that's on the paint right now, the Taharka Brothers logo. He was talking about how, young black men have so much influence over, whatever it might be, culture, music, fashion, all of that stuff. Why couldn't we have the same influence over our own people? And growing up, I wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to go to college, get my degree, get a doctorate, whatever I needed to do to have my own practice so I can help people from that standpoint, because I had been through some things. But so that struck me, the fact that I could help people who look like me, come from, similar backgrounds that I came from, might not have had the same opportunities or the same blessings in their life to kind of, be in a better space. yeah, that was the main goal, to show, someone similar to me what, success could be, a much more positive path, and giving back to their own community. So, yeah.
And you're doing that every day.
Trying my best.
I love it. How about you, Vinny?
And to bounce off what he said about the younger generation, like for myself, I got with the company when I was a freshman in high school, but I always knew the strength of influence, especially with the younger generation. Even before like taking your job serious, I used to throw parties as a high schooler, so I knew of how easily that my generation could easily get influenced and get persuaded to do whatever it may be. So meeting Taharka Brothers was my platform that I could spread positivity. I could influence others to create change. I could persuade someone to be like, selling ice cream is cool. Like, you don't have to be some, like, you don't have to be a tough guy and can't enjoy ice cream. Like, it's like a thing of like bringing normalcy of just something like doing something positive and don't have to have any stereotypes that sticks to it. Like, if you just look at me, you would think that I could be doing anything else. But if I be like, I sling ice cream for a living, it's like, stop kidding. It's like, no, like a serious thing. I sell ice cream. So it's like to know that my influence could play a role on other people. So like, even just a simple thing, how I dress and how I talk. I know it's great to have your cleanest shoes and things like that, but I want to know, like, you can be in these $1 million conversations and still rock a pair of Jordans. Yeah. You might could still have your hair locked. To know that these things are acceptable, and you can influence others to make change. So I remember, like, years ago, my dad was like, never get tattoos or anything like that. And I was like, Dad, I'm tatted up, but I'm still running a responsible business. I don't want people to judge me just off of my image, but off the work I do. And being at Taharka Brothers, it just gave me an opportunity and a platform to be able to speak for me and many other people that might have the same opinion or viewpoint or background that I come from. And I'm just many of the other people that are trying to make change that come from where I'm from. And Taharka Brothers just give me a brand that I can sell and use my platform to connect with others. So that's where it connects with me, with the influence and growing with the community and everything else.
I love it. Tell me a little bit about, while I have on the ice cream, what's the power of employee ownership? What makes an employee-owned company in and of itself kind of impactful and kind of matter socially?
I think it's the possibility that it can create wealth. It's, when it comes to profit, we can redistribute that amongst the owners and the employees that work here. And then, obviously later on down the line, if the company makes a lot of money and you sell it, the people who own it are the ones that profit off of that. So, it can be huge in terms of like economic equality and bridging some gaps in that way. I think another thing is it also helps us produce a great product. The more ownership you kind of take in something, the idea is the harder you will work at it, right?
You take pride in it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then even just a simple thing of like just coming to work. Like sometimes coming to work can be a drag for people. Like, like I'm putting the keys into this gate that's turning into my building. And then when you walk, we won the Baltimore magazine last 4 years in a row.
Best of Baltimore.
Best of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like to know that that's your product. It's like, shoot, I did this. I made this. This is me. Like, we helped build this.
Right.
It gives you a sense of ownership of it. It's like pride. It's like, all right, I'm not just coming to work because I have to pay my bills, and if I don't do my job at the most efficient, I'm out the door and they're gonna find my replacement. Just like, know that you have a place here and you belong here, and we want you to grow with the company. A job is anywhere, but somewhere that you're actually voiced and heard and respected. It's not at every job. To know, like, you can go on a job and you can have a bad day. We all are human beings. We just naturally sometimes wake up and just might be in the mood. And you might not, you can say like, shoot, I have to work at my own pace today, and I can talk with my team members, and I'm not going to get penalty because I have my quota that has to meet, and if I don't meet, I'm out the door. So it's more like a sense of empathy that's in the company.
Yeah.
Like you can actually understand one another, and then you can bounce off another person. Like it's not all work related. Like plenty of times where we go through personal matters and we are literally support bones to each other. We can pray for each other. We can talk with each other. We can even yell at each other, but we know it all comes from a good place, and we don't want nothing but the best for one another, and that's better than anywhere. You can. It's not no job that I can name that you can be like, Sean, I just need to vent to you before I start my shift, and then that person can actually sit there and listen to you and soak it up and give you their feedback, and from a way that you can grow and learn from. So I think it's like a employment, but then it's also like a family of being an employee on also.
I love it. A lot of guests we've had on the podcast have work in the space of investing in and supporting entrepreneurs and founders to do this thing of closing the racial wealth gap, creating opportunity. But like to sit with you guys, I mean, you are that, right? And there's a lot of people, and there's ecosystems around, supporting businesses like yours. But here you are doing that yourselves, and I love it. Okay, I've got a ice cream question, and then I got another kind of more theoretical question. Ice cream question. Okay, like how does it come about that you have a new flavor? Like who comes in and goes, oh, I had this idea for a flavor. What's it like to create a flavor, and what's the process?
So it's for all the crazy people that works here and they're crazy about ice cream. So we have a flavor committee. So literally it's all just starts from an idea. An idea might turn completely gross, or idea can turn a fan's favorite. We did it was like a salted caramel Old Bay.
Corn on the Bay?
Corn on the Bay.
Oh,
it was the sweet corn ice cream with Old Bay. Everyone loved it. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, there's no way. But it was those fun things where we gave our employees the opportunity to be involved. So we have a flavor committee where they meet once a week, supposedly meet once a week when they're not putting out fires and everything else that runs the business. But we have a flavor committee where we literally just sit and talk ice cream, where you can just talk of just the basic base of the ice cream. And then it goes into production, and you run on a test machine. Then the following week where you might have your test batch, and then we're gonna eat this crazy flavor that we talked and created last week. And then we're gonna all take our spoons and dive in, and everyone's gonna give their opinion, and they're gonna smack their lips, and we're gonna smack and talk about what we think about the flavor, and then we make a vote.
So can I interrupt? So if I had an idea right now, like how long would it take till we could try the idea? It's turned into ice cream.
Well, we make everything at house, so literally we can just go right in the next room and just, as long as we have all the ingredients and everything.
Yeah.
Ingredients.
You might need to go get a couple things, but
And approval. We have to get.
Is there like a food scientist
So
involved,
now when you get to the level where we are now, it's way more difficult. We used to be like, just go to Giants and like we did a half and half sorbet when you could just go get the things you need, make it wholesale, and tell all your clients that now we sell this flavor. Yeah. It's a little bit more difficult now just because we're getting to a more higher level of mass producing. So we have to go through FDA to get approval. And all that good stuff. That can be a lengthy process, but we have a great relationship with our person, and she loves our brand.
Love it.
So she's excited every time we got a new flavor on her desk, and as long as everything follows the normal protocols, it can take at least max 2 weeks.
Whoa.
But it all depends. It can vary. Then we have some people that's very perfectionist. And they can be like, well, I want to add just a little bit salt to that, or just toast the pecans just a little bit further, or no, it's too much chunk in there. We need to make them smaller sizes. Yeah. So it's all those things that
don't make the chunk smaller.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Although that does make me get to the bottom of the carton faster because I'm going after that chunk, and suddenly my spoon hits the bottom. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna eat the whole thing.
Yep.
Now, does each of you have one or more flavors that you could like lay claim to, say like that was my idea?
I know. So sometimes I'll come up with flavor suggestions and nobody will hear it, and then like months later they'll make it. So none that I can think of off the top of my head right now, but I'm gonna say it here while we're being recorded.
Yeah.
I did come up with the idea to make a Kool-Aid sorbet.
Ooh.
And apparently we might be doing that like next summer. So we'll see if that actually
I'm picturing
comes
that
out.
big guy. Remember the big guy
Yeah,
dressed up like a pitcher
yeah.
who was crashing through the wall?
Yeah. Kool-Aid,
Get you a
man.
costume.
He never does that. We try to put him in a Santa costume for the Christmas season.
I would have done it. We just never connected on that.
And Vinny, how about you? Did you flavor you would claim as yours?
You came up with that Baltimore Blossom flavor in collaboration.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm very community driven. So like I try to do things that we did a Baltimore Blossom flavor. I worked with a nonprofit. Can't remember the exact name off the top of my head, but long story short, we did a 3-month program where they designed the paint, they created their flavor, and then they got to see it get put in production and sample all the different flavors. I was able to do that. We did a Baltimore Blossom. It was like a pretty much a sundae in a paint. It was like chocolate covered waffle cones with cherries inside, cherry swirls. It was actually really good.
Yeah.
The kids loved it. I'm a little hands on and everything. Like I'm not a super ice cream eater, but just the creativity behind ice cream, I just love. And I might get the tiniest spoon just to go ahead and try. I think I helped create the Mint Flicks and Chills name, just because of the whole slogans.
Yeah.
The younger generation helped create all these different slangs and things, but try to be hands-on with everything. And if I can get a pint in my house, I'm gonna definitely put my name in the pot.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, I did kind of help collaborate with the flavor. We collaborated with Yelp. They do this thing called it's like Charm. It's a month. Stick. Yeah, it's a month-long event that they do it has something to do with Charm City. And so the young lady who runs that department for Yelp, her dream was to make an ice cream flavor.
Whoa.
And she really liked lemon sticks, which we're known for here, like around Preakness and around the springtime. So we made it lemon stick ice cream, all branded out with Yelp and Taharka, and it turned out pretty good. It didn't last long. People just bought it all up and it was gone immediately. But so I can't take full credit, but I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered that.
Yeah.
All right, so then as we wrap up, I'm gonna call back to Playful Podcast, and our subtitle is Bringing Fun to the Serious Work of Changing the World, which, like, exactly, right? So what do you think is the magic about, and how do you think, because now we're sending this ice cream out to all these people who are doing, like, working on immigration and education and healthcare and all these big issues. How do you feel to know, and what do you think about the fact that, like, ice cream can, like, lighten somebody's load and make their day a little easier and bring a smile to their face when they're doing this hard work?
Well, first, I think ice cream is the bonding through everyone. Everyone loves ice cream.
Yeah.
I haven't came across a person yet that's like, I don't like ice cream. And then specifically, if I ever hear that, I just be like, here, take this honey graham. And then they try it, and they're like, oh my goodness, I love this ice cream so much. But I say that no matter where your background or who you are or what your beliefs or how you were raised, having that common good of a product is amazing, because it can bring community. So, like, I can pull my pink ice cream truck down Fair Hill. Fair Hill is a melting pot. You have people that's from all different generations. Might have the homeless guy. You might have the guy that works for Brown Advisory on the top floor of a multi-million-dollar company. And you might have someone that is a single mom of 3. And they could all be walking down that same street.
Yeah.
And I can say, ice cream, come get some ice cream. And they can go over there, and we can all enjoy one product. It's ice cream. And then you can fellowship, you can have conversations. And you can have tough conversations, but you got something very cool and sweet that you can't be angry at the one or two. You can munch on that good ice cream and have those conversations and hash things out. You might not leave with each other and say, like, oh, I agree with that guy. But at least you have some type of understanding of why that person might think like that, or why does he react that way. But then you have brought that because of ice cream.
Yeah.
So it's the ice cream social. So if I can turn every ice cream event into a social event where people can come together and collect and spread stories. That's where we are the bonding and the glue to all these great people that's doing amazing work in the city. And it's the connection, like, especially when I'm doing events, you be like, we'll just bring all these people together. What are we going to do? We're going to eat ice cream.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
Love it. I totally agree. What does it make you think of?
It makes me think of how far we've come and how much we've grown and how we've actually, been able to have an impact and have our ice cream, not only being, eaten by everyone, but being in the right rooms and around the right conversations. Because, we've talked about, balancing work and mission. When you have your head down and you're literally just working every day, just grinding, just trying to get to the next day, it's hard to really, you can't really comprehend the impact that you're having or who sees us. Yeah. So to hear when that's happening, like, I do definitely have like a great sense of pride, and it just lets me know that we're doing the right things.
All right. So everybody, as you know, you can order this ice cream, ships nationwide. It is so fun. It comes in this box, and can you imagine 6 pints of ice cream showing up in your doorstep in this hot pink box? It's good stuff. So I'm just privileged and grateful that I get to help you all spread the word, spread the ice cream around, and to know that the people who are receiving are these folks that are doing this hard work in all these different issue areas. And like you were saying, this it's like this third thing. Like, you might think this and I might think this, or you have this experience and I have that, but like, come together on ice cream, and it's not incidental to know that we can come together around this and what we might find out about each other. And I'm so grateful to Taharka. Thank you so much for sharing your mission and your ice cream and your stories with us.
And what you do is very wonderful. To tell these stories and give this platform, it's nothing but a blessing. I appreciate you giving me stories.
All right, let's keep doing it. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for being a part of the podcast. Hey everybody, thanks so much for listening to the PlayFull Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review it on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you know of a leader or organization that's doing good in the world and you'd love to help us help them amplify their message, I would love to have them on the show. Go to the show notes and click there, or go to impactfulinc.com/contact. And that's impactful with 2 L's, inc.com/contact. And let us know who you're thinking about. Can't wait to see you next time.